Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pods at the nOg.
Pods at the Nog! Woo!
nOg Irish Pubcast. We usually do this every last Monday of the month, but this Monday is going to be Halloween, so there'll be plans for Halloween. There might be bands and stuff. But tonight, we're going to do something special. We're going to be telling ghost stories and paranormal activity at the nOg. If you have ghost stories. So earlier this evening, I found out that this place is haunted. Yep. We used to have a bartender here. Doesn't want to be on camera. She's camera shy. But
Or does she not show up on camera?
I'm here.
she's here. She's on the other side.
But do you show up on camera?
I'm here.
Woo!
But it's okay.
It's okay.
But I will share her stories on behalf of her, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So her stories were that there's a piano that's not working back there, and she was closing one night, and it started playing by itself, and that's why she left us.
Oh boy.
Yep, she
That
quit.
would freak me out.
It would freak me out too. And there's a goat on the wall, the face, the head, and everything, taxidermied, if you will. It also talks. That's what made her leave too. But I didn't catch the
I don't do drugs.
She doesn't do drugs, for the record.
I smoke marijuana.
She only smokes marijuana.
No, I don't.
She doesn't smoke marijuana. I don't either. I smoked 5 times and that was it. I was in Colorado. And one time with Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw, the remake, in California. Yep. I was dressed as Wu Manchu. I won't dress tonight. I was thinking about it. And also there's a clock. What happened at the clock? We don't know. But would you like to share? It's okay. Go near the clock. And there's also some paranormal activity upstairs. And there's also some at the door. If you don't know that. So if you're a ghost hunter, and if you catch one on camera, either on your phone or on your cameras, which I have right there, you will win a prize. That's in the naughty bin over there.
Oh.
Yes. We had some past guests on here that I interviewed about their small business that they managed. It was the local adult bookstore on Ridgewood. And they were planning on giving us, everyone in the crowd, some, stuff for the bedroom. And not a lot of people showed up, so they gave me the rest of the stuff. And I've been selling it as merch at my comedy shows, and people have been gobbling those up.
Nice.
Yep, those damn cock gobblers. There's vibrators, there's condoms, lube, you name it. I'm almost out of inventory. Who knew they were all freaky in Florida?
Who knew?
Yep. First bath salts. Now they're knocking boots. The state does look like the private parts of a man. It's true. I'm from Colorado, so if you combine the two, it'd be a dick in a box.
Yeah, Colorado's kind of plain.
They have mountains, so I guess those are boobs. Oh, man. What else? I guess I should start a scary story, so then I'll inspire Jenny to tell a ghost story. This story, for the approval of the Midnight Society of the nOg Irish Pub. If you haven't seen Are You Afraid of the Dark, this is what inspired it. It's called Cambodian Gothic. It was the year 2006, and my parents sent me to Cambodia by myself. And I've only met my grandparents on my mom's side 3 times in my life, or twice. Twice from my grandpa, and 3 times from my grandma. And the second time that I met them, my grandpa was very ill. Like, he couldn't move. He had Alzheimer's, dementia, whatever you want to call it, something with a memory loss. And in the village, he didn't remember anybody. And so when I went there, in 2001, he remembered me. And my grandma goes, if your grandpa wasn't so weak and powerless, he would have taken you on a cart ride through the village and showed you around. And so then 5 years later, 2006 happened, and I went there. My grandpa had passed away. And I went to the village. I got to meet my grandma for the third and last time. And I went to bed. And there was this. I was dreaming, and so for the powers to go on, you had to have a generator to turn the lights on. So it was like middle of the night. I had to use the restroom. I left my bedroom, and I went to the bathroom, and I remember these slots. And if there's no lights on, there shouldn't be lights coming out of it at all. There's like multiple slots all the way down to the restroom, but there's lights shining through them. I'm like, well, that's weird. So I go to the restroom. The bathroom is like on the ground. In Cambodia, there's like the bathroom's there. There's a pot inside of a bucket with water, and it's like the toilet's on the ground. You have to squat and use it, and so it's right next to each other. And I totally missed the toilet, and I peed everywhere. It was horrible. And so I make my way back to my bedroom. And I noticed that before I went back on the mattress, I noticed that there was still an indent in there. And I sat down. The spot was still warm, and usually your body heat leaves the bed, and there's no more indent in there, and it shouldn't have been because it's been a couple seconds. So I went back to bed, and so I dreamt that my grandpa was taking me on a cart ride to the villages. So he kept his promise. And so I looked to the left and the right, and no one was there. It was just me in a cart going to the villages of his village, and he was taking me on tour. So that's Cambodian Gothic.
Trippy.
Yeah.
Woo.
Pretty scary.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I would have been freaked out about the dent in the bed.
Same here. I don't know what made me go back to bed. Any questions for the ghost story?
When I used to live in Japan, they have a lot of different types of ghosts in ancient lore that are just fantastical, like all different shapes and stuff. What about in Cambodia?
Well, there's this horror movie. It's called Op, and it's like the parents play it for the kids to scare them or something. It's about some like headless vampire. I think my sleep paralysis demon came from Cambodia too. Yep. And I remember like it was like 1992 was the first time I went there, and I got in the way of a worker, and he was like carrying stuff, and he gave me like I was just a kid, like 9 years old, and he just gave me this look like, hey, get out of my way, kid, or either that or he cursed me or something. Yeah. And so they believe in black magic there. And so I didn't think anything of it. I come back home, I go to bed, and all of a sudden I kept on getting these sleep paralysis demons just pressing against me. Yep.
Oh man, those things are good.
Yep. To this day I still have them. Even if I take a nap during the day and I go to bed at night,
Yeah.
then that's when it happens.
Oh wow.
Yep. And so I remember we talked about the second time that I went to Cambodia, and on the way back from the trip with my dad, and the time that I met my grandpa for the second time, there was a lady that was like a psychic or a medium on the plane on the way back, and I told her about this because I had no one to talk to. So she was like, I don't know what stirred up the conversation. And then she goes, if you want that sleep process to go away, all you have to do is just like talk inside your head and say, if you're not from the Lord Almighty, then you must leave now at least 3 times, and it'll go away. And I use this in my stand-up because usually you turn tragedy into comedy.
Yeah.
And so I say that I sleep naked, and I knock boots with my sleep paralysis demon. Because if it wants to freak with me, I'll freak with it.
Does it know what the hostess ding dong is? That's my question.
Hopefully, in due time, I think. And like the last time it happened was like a couple days ago, and you can tell when the sleep paralysis demon comes inside your dream. Like I have like these really surreal dreams, and so it just comes up the stairs on this one. It was just a shadowy figure, and sometimes it happens like Inception, where there's a dream inside of a dream.
Yes.
Oh man,
Those are trippy.
they are. So, yep, that's pretty much. I've had those like in Cambodia the last time I went to Cambodia in 2006, and I was in my uncle's house, and they were pressed against me, and so like it sounded like I could taste my own blood in my throat because it was pushing so hard. Yep. And then the next day we went to Thailand. We went to the red light district, and went to the strip clubs and massage parlors. My uncle sent me by myself to the translator, and in all these these strip club stories that I talk about are true when I say I'm on stage. And the massage parlor place, he sent me with the translator, and we went there together. So that's true too. Yep, I saw him have a threesome right in front of me, so it was just so bizarre. Oh man. And then I did my internship out in Los Angeles at the studio that I was apprenticing at, and Clive was there, and he comes the night before Clive came over. There was this. I heard footsteps on it was like brick floors, so I heard them coming towards me, and I didn't get anything out of it because I know that the place is haunted, like the studio is haunted. I fell asleep on the couch in the conference room that doubles as my office, and the sleep paralysis demon pushes against me from walking from the hallway into the room. And the following morning, I go, "Hey, Clive, is this place haunted for real?" He goes, "Yeah, it's haunted. And that's where the story, Cold Heart Canyon came from, where these ghosts in the house." I was like, "Ooh, that's some scary stuff." 'Cause those houses have been around for a while, but the studio itself, where I slept at, was closed. But the cool thing was he gave me keys to the place after shows. If I'm too tired and I don't want to drive home to Sherman Oaks,
Yeah.
he just let me crash at the conference room.
Oh wow.
Yep. So that night I had some paranormal activity with the sleep paralysis demon.
Oh.
Yep. Good stuff.
Have you ever gone to the Daytona Playhouse?
I haven't. I've always wanted to go though.
It's nice. They do all the plays they do there are always comedies. Well, I used to paint. Sometimes I would do volunteer painting there, like I would paint backdrops or whatever. And there was one really big ass backdrop I was painting, and I was getting ready to go out of town and visit my family, and I needed to finish painting the backdrop before it was time for me to leave town. So crazy me. Oh, shall I come? All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna come and welcome to the stage is Jenny Nazak. She's gonna tell the story to the microphone.
All right.
Because it was getting intense. I was like, "Oh, you need to tell us all."
I have to walk around the other way.
Oh yeah.
I dropped a large cinder block on my foot while I was doing some landscaping today, and my toe might be broken. So
Oh, you better get that fixed.
I'm walking. Yeah, I'm gonna get it fixed by sleeping a lot
Oh.
and taking Advil and putting ice on my foot. All right.
Oh.
Okay, so. Does it come off?
Oh yeah. Pull it from the microphone's top part of it.
I see it now.
Yeah.
There was this one guy at one of the open mics. The one guy was so mad because nobody knew how to use the microphone right. All right, so I used to paint backdrops sometimes at the Daytona Playhouse, and there was one that I needed to get finished. It was this giant. It was like 15 feet by 30 feet, and I was getting ready to go out of town in a couple days to go visit my family. So I needed to get it done before I left town. So what do I decide to do? I decide to pull an all-nighter in the theater by myself. Who stays up all night in a theater by them? What could possibly go wrong? be inside of it. Everybody knows the theaters are haunted. You don't stay in a theater by yourself. What the fuck was I doing? And I knew it. I'm like, I know, but I want to finish the backdrop, and what could possibly go wrong? Well, the truth is, nothing specific actually did go wrong at all. It was just so creepy. Like, I finished my painting, that part was fine, I found a nice little sofa to sleep on, and I'm always, when I was a child, I lived in Japan with my family, and we had all these Japanese kids books, and one of them was like a book of demons and ghost stories, and one of the characters in one of these stories would be sleeping inside of a temple, but the good spirit would counsel this guy: avoid large places at night, keep to small. And when I was a kid, that just went into my psyche, like, avoid large places at night, keep to small. Well, this theater was a big ass place. It was like, there was no small place in there, it was just this big wide place. But I just found a little velvet sofa that was kind of like surrounded by some, I don't even know, like bookcases or something. So it felt kind of small, like if there was going to be a sword fight of demons or something, I was somewhat sequestered in there. But I didn't meet any specific ghosts, but literally every time I walked like out away from the stage, or I had to go to the bathroom or something, it just felt overpoweringly like just creepy, and I actually had to walk all the way, like here's the stage where my little velvet sofa was and my little backdrop painting was, had to walk all the way through the theater, all the way to the other end of the theater, up 2 flights of stairs to the light area to like turn off the lights. And that was like one of the scariest moments in my life, was having to turn off the lights and then walk back to the stage. And I kept expecting like something to jump out at me, but then once I got into my little velvet sofa, that feeling totally subsided. And I think ever since I was a kid, I've always felt like the kind of monsters that hang out or follow me around, if you're laying down, they can't bother you. And if you can't see them, they can't see you. So I've always like, all right, home free, I'm on the sofa. All right, my eyes are closed now. And then it just totally dissipated.
Good stuff. There's something about theaters that are haunted.
Theaters are haunted.
Yep.
And plus all that wide open space where things could be hiding behind the chairs or the little nooks and crannies or something. And the silence, you're staying up trying to paint this giant 15 by 30 foot backdrop, and the time is ticking by, and there's just like all this silence. And for a couple hours, just like painty, fun, mixing paint, not even thinking about anything except painting. And then all of a sudden, oh fuck, what am I doing? I'm in a theater, I'm by myself, anything could happen. It's creepy.
Indeed. There's this theater in my hometown in Pueblo, and they said that someone had killed themselves accidentally backstage, and it used to be open, and that's why they changed the name from Damon Runyon Theater to the Spirit House when they used to own it, and now it's just standing there. And I had Sweatfest there one time too, and I was like, you could sense the energy in there.
Oh wow.
Yep. So I was like, I'm so glad I don't have to go backstage or anything like that. It's just, whoa.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Well, this is one I haven't experienced, but my family, my mom's side of the family, Lizzie Borden is one of our ancestors. The woman in the 1800s in Massachusetts who supposedly hacked up both of her parents with an axe, and her house is still there in Fall River, Massachusetts, and now it's a bed and breakfast, and which they actually encourage people to come stay and see if they meet the ghost of Lizzie Borden.
Wow.
And one of my cousins wants to go there and have a family reunion or something.
You totally should.
I'm like, yeah, by together, not any of us by ourselves.
No way. And even hotels are haunted, like the Stanley Hotel, the Overlook Hotel, just all of them. It's just I think it's called the Overlook. It was in Baywatch, in LA, I guess.
Mm.
Yep, and then I've never been to the Stanley Hotel in Colorado, even though I am from Colorado. So it's like, yeah. I've had too many run-ins with spirits, and like the Orlando talk show with Ross McCoy. He came here. Yeah, he always asks everyone if they believe in ghosts or aliens. And so I'm a believer of ghosts, but I've yet to see aliens. So
I totally believe in aliens, but I think they're too smart to just show themselves. I think they can be anywhere. They're interdimensional beings. So to me, it's no surprise that I've never seen an alien. Now, I do remember one time I have seen what did feel like a ghost, but it was interesting because we always think of us being scared of ghosts, but I think I scared a ghost. This was, I lived in Austin, Texas with my husband at the time, and the house we lived in was built in 1902. It was an old wooden house, and closer like that, and it was very, like, you could feel, I don't know, I always felt like I could feel the flavor of the people who had used to live there, but I didn't particularly feel haunted or anything. And then one night, we're in bed, and it's like 3 in the morning or something, and then I wake up, and I looked, I'm laying on my back, my husband's right over here, and I look up, and there's, like, looks like a ghost to me, but it didn't look, it looked like a hokey costume ghost. It looked like when you have like a balloon and you tie a rubber band and then a sheet. Like, I'm like, really? But then I got really scared, like, whoa, a ghost. And I'd always wanted to see a ghost and talk to a ghost, but when I actually saw one, I was like, whoa! And then it felt bad. Like, it felt bad that it had scared me, and it ran away or floated away or vaporized or whatever, because like it was there and then it wasn't. But I remember being really surprised that it wasn't like sophisticated looking at all. It like literally had a string tied around his neck like a Halloween ghost.
wow. Gosh, it reminds me of my another sleep paralysis experience that I had in my old house in Colorado, and it's like I was sleeping in like there was this black cloud above me, and it was something whispered in my ear, and then that black fog just swooped down on me.
Whoa.
Yep, it was like I don't do drugs either, but I'm pretty sure that place was haunted.
Wow.
It was like it was made in the 70s. I'm so sure that it was haunted.
Dang.
Yep. Have you ever been to Casadega?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have any stories from Casadega?
We don't, because I was just driving there in a car with a couple of friends, and we just drove around. We went to this really cool little park, like Fairyland Park, with different, rocks and shells and things, but it wasn't like creepy or anything. And we didn't get our fortunes forecast because we were kind of like on edge about some stuff, so none of us wanted to get our fortunes forecast right then.
And they're expensive too.
Are they?
Yep. That's why I was like, I just walked there to see how much everything was. Went through the haunted museum. That's a fun one. It's like only $10, but there's like 9 rooms in there, and it's just like wow. And then when you're not expecting it, one of the stuff, a couple of the things talk to you. Holy cannoli! Let me tell you.
Wow.
Makes you jump.
No doubt.
Yep.
No doubt.
Indeed.
I remember one time when I was living in Austin, after I got divorced, I had this boyfriend who was psychic in a really scary, bad way. Like, he would keep seeing really horrible things happen. Like, he was, oh God, this horrible thing happened, this thing happened, or this thing's gonna happen. And I'm like, dude, you gotta change your channel. Like, you gotta find ways to perceive different alternate reality, or you need to find a priestess or something to exercise this responsibly. And he never would, and he was always just freaking everybody out. And he would tell me all these stories about how he foretold people's deaths and stuff, and it was just way creepy. These little vendors, it was really cute and crafty and stuff, but there was also a psychic there, and I always assumed, well, this is one of those recreational, it's just a little festival. They're not going to have like any kind of a hardcore psychic there or something. Well, my boyfriend won a raffle where he got a free session with the psychic. And, he was there, and then he came back and he said, yeah, she said that I'm a true psychic. and he said, she asked me to send you over there to her. Because like I was actually afraid of my boyfriend. He was tripping me out. All right, so I go over there and I'm like, hey. And she goes, I'm giving you a free reading. She goes, so you might think that you're dependent on somebody, or you might think that you happen to be that you need to worry or be afraid of somebody. But she looked right at me and she goes, but if you need to, you can open up a big old can of whoop ass on somebody because you're a witch. And I was just getting into Wicca at the time, and I'm like, alrighty, thank you, ma'am.
Do you still practice Wicca?
Yeah, I have a mixture of religious beliefs. Like, I really resonate with Buddhism, a lot of Buddhist philosophy, Zen, and all that, and then I also really resonate with Wicca. And I realized later that I had basically been Wiccan ever since I was a child. Like, I used to do rituals with things out in nature and stuff. But then when I got into Buddhism, that really made a lot of sense too. So I kind of just have my own fusion of religious beliefs.
Some B&W.
What about you?
I have no, I don't have any organized religion that I follow. But I remember like I was driving through New Mexico, the land of enchantment, and I just said, Lord, if you be my co-pilot, look out for me while I'm at the City of Angels, because there's demons out there too, and we're gonna be all right. So it's just me and him talking on the road a lot. Yep. And so I believe in a higher power.
Yeah.
But I just don't go to churches or nothing, because every time I go to a church, like, they give me that look, like, you don't belong here.
Oh.
So I don't go to them. I'm like, of course, I'm going to hell. I know it.
Yeah, you are.
Yep. So,
Bukkake man?
yes, sir. James, the bartender, called me the Bukkake man. That should be... If you hug me, your clothes will get pregnant. That's what they... Yep. If you'd like to tell some ghost stories, you're more than welcome to, too. And if you catch any ghosts on camera, there's some prizes for you, too. There's... I know you are, James. You're the friendly one here. Yep.
Call me Casper.
That's right. Casper. Just like Wyoming.
I don't get it.
It's a city in Wyoming. Yeah.
I'm not agriculturally smart.
Oh, you're totally fine. I was next door in Colorado, so that's how I know Casper. Cheyenne, that's about the only two. Kanye lives there. But screw him, I don't like him anymore. I said it on camera. That's right.
I'm interested though in a lot of what black people online are saying about the whole Kanye thing, about how, okay, it's not cool what he said, but how come they wait for a black guy to do it and then the black guy's canceled, whereas so many people have been anti-Semitic openly and horribly and not gotten canceled, like all those Proud Boys and shit.
Indeed. And Nick Cannon was anti-Semitic when it was the interview with, what's his name? He was in Public Enemy, I think, and he said some things, and he lost Wild 'N Out for a while, and then he apologized and got everything back.
Mm-hmm.
But as for Kanye, I think it's the Kardashian curse, and he is not getting anything back. I don't support the guy. I have a lot of Jewish friends.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are half, or full, or up to 99.9%. But if there's a lot of hate speech, I don't tolerate it.
I'm not into it.
No way.
Too much, but I mean, I don't try to get into black business or anything, but I have my own opinions about whatever. Yeah.
I think Kanye needs to watch Bambi again.
You think?
Yep, and pay attention to what Thumper said. If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all.
God, that's so difficult in today's world, isn't it?
It is. They need to watch it, and Bambi on repeat if they can't, those old Disney movies teach you some things. The ones nowadays, they just make you sad because they always take away at least one parent. I know. Horrible. Now all these single family households are a lot. I blame it on those damn Disney movies. That's right.
What else can we talk? This isn't a ghost story, but it's like trippy ritual story. So when I got divorced, when I got divorced, and I was moving to my own place, then I moved to an RV park, which I had always wanted to try living in an RV park, and I thought, well, I need a vehicle, so I want to get something that could be used to tow an RV if I ever wanted to. Never ended up towing an RV, but I ended up for a while owning this big ass Ford F-150 truck. But the dude that I bought the truck from, the car salesman at the dealership, we had like instant physical chemistry, but we had completely diametrically opposed political beliefs. Like, he was super hardcore Republican, super like didactic, rigid, like the works. So what could possibly go wrong? And I was going on this trip, and part of my trip was going to be going to this conference out in California about polyamory. and he was like, well, as long as you're only going to be exploring it philosophically, I have no problem with that. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm just going to explore it philosophically. Yeah. But long story short, I did end up meeting kind of a fun, interesting dude, and some sexual things did happen, and that was not within the allowable parameters of this dating relationship that I was in. So I get back to Texas, and I'm doing some kind of, I forget, when did I do this ritual? I don't remember what. I started to do a ritual with fire, and there was a McDonald's cup involved, like a McDonald's beverage cup. They were paper coated with wax. Well, something about the fire, like, it wasn't just a normal fire. It, like, the flames spurted up like 5 feet in the air at one point. And I know what it was. It was like I was seeking some guidance about this whole relationship thing, and like how to be in integrity in this relationship and what to do about all this stuff. And these flames were like, yeah! And the next day, or like 2 days later, this boyfriend, all right, I was fine. I'd had this awesome trip. I'd had this wonderful time. But this boyfriend came down with some really bad symptoms. Like, he got jaundice. He got jaundiced skin, and he got really ill.
What's jaundice?
It's when your skin turns yellow, like with hepatitis.
Oh.
And so I thought I had hepatitis, and I'm like, oh fuck. Well, it turned out I had mono. And so I'd given him mono because I had been a bad girl at the polyamory conference.
Indeed.
And so it was trippy because this cup had gone into flames, and this whole thing of like sharing a cup or giving somebody mono. And so anyway, that was interesting.
Absolutely. There's I found out like 2 weeks ago, not this week but last week, there was a comedian that signed up for the first time, and she has an OnlyFans account. OF for YouTube, by the way. And she was doing stand-up just to put it on her OF account. And one of the comics goes, hey, that's one of my childhood friends. I'm like, really? She goes, yeah, like after the show, she took us out to the swingers club on Ridgewood. And I got to spend $60 and I got to see some swinger action. And he goes, but my anxiety kicked in, and so I went to the back, and so people were trying to calm me down, and I was having a cigarette.
Oh my God.
Like, you're supposed to have sex and then have the cigarette.
Then have the cigarette. No, he's trying to calm down and have the cigarette and maybe have some sex.
Yeah. I've always wanted to go there, but there's like $80 if you're not a member, $60 if you got invited by a couple, and $10 for the ladies.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, West Hollywood is way cheaper.
Right, you can have your own adventures without having to pay that cover charge.
That's right. I mean, the adult theater on Hollywood Santa Monica was only like $18, and then the Glory Hole when it was open, it was $21. Yep. But COVID shot down that Glory Hole, so it's just.
Too bad, so sad.
Even that was a really scary place.
I bet it was.
Yeah, it reminded me of like the old Scooby-Doo cartoons. Like it's pitch black, but then there's like the holes in there. You can see the eyes looking at you.
Yes.
Yep.
And the scary cartoon music comes on.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Well, it was like Iron Maiden. You know, because of the joke.
Ruh-roh. Scooby. Ruh-roh.
I love telling that joke on stage, even though, like, you know, it comes from a real place, no pun intended. But, my buddy and I just went there because he kept on hitting on me, and he had a lady, and I'm like, I'm not being a homewrecker, so there's nothing's gonna happen. I guess he had a polyamorous relationship or something. But I'm a monogamous kind of guy, you know. And so I took him. It was Gay Pride weekend, and we just went there. And he thought we were supposed to share a room together.
Mm.
Yep. And so we paid our $21. They gave us, a little plastic bag. It was like a little bit bigger than the drug bags that they give out out in Daytona Beach. And so they had like a discount to join the membership, some lube, a condom, and this is where you go if you want to go get checked, so you don't catch anything like mono or jaundice or hepatitis. And so we just went there, and he thought we were supposed to share a room together, and we weren't supposed to because they're really small cubbies,
Yeah, I was looking at your Colorado screensaver, and I was thinking about some of these ghost hunter shows that are on TV. They always seem to be filmed at like some kind of a mining town, like an old hotel in a mining town or something. But the whole show seems to revolve around somebody's inability to hold the camera steadily, and they're just like Blair Witch trialing all over the place.
Oh.
It's like that's supposed to make it scary. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Oh, come out, ghost! Come out, ghost! Show yourself! Show yourself!
Yeah.
Or like one time in one of the shows, a guy lays down on a cot in the middle of a darkened room and says, "I hope the ghost doesn't come attack me while I'm alone and vulnerable." I'm like, sounds like you hope he does attack you while you're vulnerable.
Goodness gracious. It's like, I try to watch those shows, and that's why I turned off my cable, because I just like, in Colorado there's a lot of mining towns, like Cripple Creek and Victorville and stuff like that.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, but I think it's Victorville, I don't know, but it's just so many mining towns, and I'm glad that, like, my home city is called the Steel City, because there's like a lot of steel mills and stuff. So that's where all the iron and everything comes. But I'm just like, make it like, it reminds me of the haunted house that I stayed in when I was performing at the Mobile Comedy Festival in Mobile, Alabama. And the house was built in like 1890s.
Mm.
When I was just there by myself, I was like, look, comics, you can crash here if you want to, and you don't even have to help pay the Airbnb, but I think I should have charged them, so if they made a mess,
Yeah.
So anywho, I ended up staying at this old white house on an old street, and it was an Airbnb, and I fell asleep, and the doors were so old that they don't close properly or something, but this one had a lock and everything, so I locked it, went to bed, turned off the AC because it was just too cold.
Yeah.
The door opens, and the AC turns on, and I'm like, oh hell no, I'm so glad I'm only here for a night.
Creepy.
Yeah, I'm like, just as long as that sleeper house, this demon doesn't follow me around. Right?
Yeah.
Then there was like a loud noise, there was like people talking, and I guess it was like paper thin walls because there was like a neighbor sharing like it was a duplex kind of thing. And we shared like a back area and everything. Oh, scary stuff.
I think there's a lot of scary stuff in those old mining towns. My grandfather grew up in Leadville, Colorado, and I think there was so many creepy old like mining shacks and things over there. I mean, the stories he used to tell were all about him and his friends like setting fire to wagon loads of hay and like dropping things on ladies' bonnets from the top of a roof or something. It was never scary, but it seems like kind of creepy in those kind of places.
Yeah. I don't know. I've seen my Bloody Valentine a couple times, so
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, it's like, why do they keep on making it like Blair Witch Trial, project or whatever, and they don't even capture it on film? It's like,
I get really seasick like really easily, So if I'm at the movie theater sitting too close to the screen and there's a lot of motion, I'll get seasick. And if there's just a lot of, and so during the Blair Witch, I was like really seasick.
Yep.
Like I can't even watch this right now.
I can't stand found footage horror flicks anyways. I'm just like, keep the camera steady, tell me a good story. If it's 3 hours long, I should have looked it up. So if there's not enough killings every 5 minutes, then keep me out of it.
Needs to be exciting.
Yeah. And sometimes I like to sit close to the screen because it makes me feel like I'm at an IMAX without paying IMAX prices.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw the Woman King at a big screen, big theater with this special effect. I forget the name. I think it was the IMAX, and I was like, wow, that was intense.
Indeed. There's those 4D movie theaters too that make squirt the water and stuff at you. I really wanted to watch Top Gun Maverick with that thing. It would have been a lot of fun. Yeah.
See, that'd be too many dimensions for me. I can't handle. Like the movie theater's already air conditioned, so it's freezing already. So if water squirted on me in addition to that, I'd be very like just freezing, upset. I would need like a parka.
They should save those 4Ds for those adult theaters at on Santa Monica Boulevard.
Right, some kind of one of those like bukkake films or something.
Yeah. James calls me the bukkake man. We should start doing some adult movie screenings here.
Oh God. I'm
Okay.
sure. What could possibly go wrong? I'm sure they would love it. I'm sure. Absolutely.
I mean, this movie screen comes down, so no, I'm just kidding.
God.
We'll save it for that swingers club on Ridgewood.
That's right.
Yeah. I want to go and do some events there. Maybe do some dirty storytelling or stand-up. Get them all in the mood. It's like, all right, Josie was 1990s. Let's get our freak on with some dirty jokes over here. And have a cigarette. And I don't even smoke.
Nope.
Yeah, but I don't know. I've been having an adventure with these dirty talks. How's it going? If you have a ghost story, you're more than welcome to join us, too. Sounds good.
Yeah, I wish I could think of some more.
Indeed.
When we were kids, we used to always play that game, I Believe in Bloody Mary.
Oh.
Like, you stand in front of a bathroom mirror when it's dark and you can there's only a little teeny bit of light, so you can just barely see your face in the mirror, and you're like, I believe in Bloody Mary, I believe in Bloody Mary, and then blood just starts to roll down the mirror, roll down your face in the mirror.
Oh, I've never done that before.
Yeah. It's, a lot of girls at slumber parties did this. Like, very suggestible groups of young girls at slumber parties would do I Believe in Bloody Mary and freak themselves out.
And see, that's why I don't mess with Candyman either.
Oh, really?
Yep, that's just... have you seen the movie?
Uh-uh.
Oh, you gotta watch Candyman. Don't see it 2 or 3 more times in front of a mirror, but if you watch the first one and the newest one by J. Gordon Peele and Nia DaCosta, they work well together. They continue on the story. But the second and third one that happened earlier, ugh. I mean, it was good, but it's just like, why are they in New Orleans and New LA all of a sudden? I don't know. Keep it in Chicago. Make it. I love Chicago. It's like one of my favorite towns to do stand-up in.
Seems like there'd be a lot of ghosts in Chicago. Like, think of all the activity that has happened over the years.
Yeah. From all the mafia to the gangs to
Yeah.
all that jazz. I don't blame it. Oh, speaking of bathroom mirrors, there was a ghost. My old middle school was built on an old cemetery, and they knocked down the middle school recently. But they said that if you go to the bathroom by yourself and face the mirror, you'll see like a fog happen behind you.
Oh, wow.
Yep, it's like some apparition. And so they said that there's a basement down there that was haunted too. I remember I had to use the restroom by myself, and well, I didn't quite make it there in middle school because I tooted too much. It's on record. I don't care. I'll just tell it.
It's on record.
A long time ago, but I tooted too much and made a mess out of myself, and so I didn't even use look in the mirror, and I just told my mom to come pick me up because I messed up myself.
Aww.
Yeah. So I just. Oh. But it was a fun times in middle school, but I never experienced the ghosts there.
In Japan, there's a traditional ghost called Toire no Naka no Hanako. So Hanako inside the toilet. So if you go into the toilet stall, this Hanako ghost might be there, and I forget what she does, but she haunts the toilet.
Oh, all of them?
Only the lucky ones.
Oh.
Yeah. Like some people say they have experienced her, and some have not.
Jeez.
I don't remember what her story was supposed to be like. If she had been jilted by her lover, and so she started to for some reason, haunt the toilets. I don't know.
Indeed, out here in Florida, we just get snakes and alligators to the toilet.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Ghosts and gators.
Yep.
Oh man, I've never had a like a snake or an alligator come to the toilet, but I would not like that.
Mm-hmm. In Florida, we have these very harmless black snakes. They're called black racers, and they can get really long. And I have a few of them at my house. They take care of their rodent population outdoors. They like to live in my yard, and they don't show themselves very often. They're very shy. Like if one comes out into the open space and sees a human, they will just make tracks to get under the underbrush back again.
Oh.
But one day when I was painting some backdrops in this theater, and this was in the daytime, so there weren't any other people there yet, but there were going to be some people later. All right, so I'm taking a break from painting and walking to the ladies' room, and it was kind of like there wasn't that many lights on. It was daytime, so there was enough natural light, but it was sort of a little bit of a darkened atmosphere in the hall. And I take a step, and my boot lands on something, and I knew right away that I was stepping on a snake.
Oh.
I knew it. I'm like, oh my God, a snake. And I was really worried about the snake. I'm like, poor baby, I'm sorry. And it, was able to slither out from under my boot and just shoot off to wherever he was hanging out, killing rats or whatever. But those snakes are awesome.
Indeed. Do you believe in Greek mythology?
Believe in it, no, but it's very fascinating because they made their gods have so many human foibles. I've always read that the Greek gods got so many human foibles that after a while the humans didn't really look up to them anymore. It was more like just a soap opera. Like, all right, what did the gods do next? Who jilted their lover? Who played around on this guy? Whatever.
Indeed. When you talked about those snakes, it reminded me of Medusa.
Oh yeah, Medusa.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and now those Greek gods are now professional wrestlers on the old WWE. Yep. Good times. And AEW if you're in Florida. They love it. Me and my buddies always gather around and watch them on pay-per-view. And then my other buddies would go watch UFC. Yeah, this is great.
Oh, speaking of scary, we should make a public service announcement. You know what season it is. It's besides Halloween season, it's also election time.
Oh, yeah.
Time to go vote. And boy, is it important here in Florida, because ghosts may be scary, but creeping fascism is even scarier.
Indeed.
So we get to be sheltered in our little cocoon of unreality. Oh, spooky! You know what time it is? 11:11. 11:11. 1111. It's 11:11. 11 is supposed to be a magic number.
Oh yeah? What happened to that at 11:11?
I don't really know. It's something cosmic, with the, I don't know. I don't even know what it is. Raising the vibration of the planet. 11. 1111.
Indeed. Do you make wishes on 11:11?
I don't. I just kind of catch the vibe, and I feel like it's good luck when I spot it. This one old boyfriend of mine back in Austin, every time it's 11:11, sometimes he'll text me 11:11, except that it's 11:11 Central Time, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's 12:11. Or I'll text him and, hey, look, 11:11. No, it's not. It's only 10:11.
It's so confusing, I guess.
Yeah.
And
and speaking of time, now I think they're talking about abolishing daylight savings time. I think.
Well, Arizona does that, so it's and they just go on with their business.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been thinking, if Florida does that, then I don't mind it.
I don't mind it.
Yep. There's always 24 hours in a day.
Always.
Yep.
But the sunrises get really late at this time of year.
Oh,
Like, I'm glad that I'm self-employed and I don't have to wake up at a certain time every day and go to work at one certain time really early in the morning, because it's dark in the morning.
it really is.
And like sometimes I have my best dreams. Like sometimes I'll wake up really early, like I'll wake up at 5 a.m. or something, and I'll read the newspaper on my phone. I'll read that day's newspaper. And then sometimes right after that I'll get up and start working or something. But then other times I'll feel like going back to sleep. And whenever I have that feeling of feeling like going back to sleep, I always have trippy dreams that contain useful information. So, and it happens a lot at the time when the sunrise is very late. You know, like right now the sun doesn't even come up until like after 7:30. So it's
Indeed.
like super late. Whereas in the summer, sun comes up at like, at the earliest, it'll be starting to rise at like 6 in the morning. Who could stay in bed? And plus it's 900 million degrees. It's kind of hard to stay in bed.
It really is. Recently my dreams have been pretty vivid too, so I was thinking about just having like a dream journal and just writing these dreams out, because they've been getting some more descriptive. And they say like if you see like you know people's faces in them, they're actually ghosts that are staring at you while you're sleeping.
Oh wow.
Yep. So there's a lot of ghosts that stare at me while I'm sleeping, I guess.
Wow.
Just as long as they're not my sleep paralysis demons, and that's. I am not into those paranormal activity gangbangs. No way. I'm a monogamous kind of guy.
Right.
Oh man. But yeah, I love this bar, even though it is haunted. I mean, Randy told me about the stories, and the old bartender here told me about the stories. It's like the piano playing by itself when she closed, and the goat talking
Yeah.
on the wall, and
I
then
wonder what the goat was saying.
I don't know. I'm a Capricorn too, so we should understand each other. Yep. And there's someone passed away on the door over here. Yep. And then I guess they got shot or something. I don't know. But Randy, if he was here, he would tell you all the ghost stories. But he's in Montana and gonna make his way back before Halloween. He's such a road warrior.
I remember he was supposed to deliver some bleachers or something.
Oh yeah, he does all the racetracks. I saw his post on Facebook, and it's just all snowy and stuff. And then the bartender said that the clock makes noises too, and there were times where it just made, it's a grandfather's clock right there, and it would make noises during comedy shows.
Oh wow.
Yep. And I'm not sure if it works or not. James, is that grandfather clock working?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know why, the old bartender that was here recently, she said it was like haunted or something.
Well, that was her grandfather's clock. Same with the organ and that goat were all in her family.
Oh.
She's convinced it was haunted, but like, I don't know how, I never seen anything like anything happen.
They're probably trying to send her messages from the other side.
I don't know. She was kind of drinking a little bit tonight, so I don't know like what the believe and what not to believe.
Yeah.
Oh.
I can't decide what I'm more scared of, like ghosts or like Montana. Like I'm Montana. Like I could deal my whole life without ever going and hanging out in Montana. And I think like if I was ever in Montana, especially at night, I'd be so terrified because of like really large grizzly bears and just really scary people with big guns and stuff. I'd be like really scared.
Yeah.
I feel like ghosts, it's almost like the analogy between urban and country. Like some people are so scared of the city. I'm not scared of the city. Like, there's some people, there's interesting characters, but it's not the same as like you go out to the country and there's some scary people out in the country.
Indeed.
But so Montana, I don't know, I think Montana might be more scary than ghosts.
Well, I drove, like, my family and I, we drove through there to get to Seattle and Tacoma and Vancouver, but we never stopped. Well, we just kept on going. Well, we got like gas and stuff if we needed to, but then we just kept it moving. But the only person that you shouldn't be afraid of that's from Montana or is associated with Montana is Joe Montana.
Joe Montana.
QB for San Francisco 49ers.
That's right,
and
Joe Montana.
Kansas City Chiefs, which are the rivals of the Broncos, if it's not the Raiders. Because the Chargers, well, we don't worry about those folks. Because whenever we play at their stadium, they usually cheer for the other side. So we don't have no beef with the Chargers.
I feel like if I was going to Montana, I'd want to bring like one of those like 5-gallon buckets of like MREs and dehydrated food.
I don't blame you. It's kind of like Kansas and Nebraska and the Dakotas. It's like Wyoming,
We just
Utah.
named half the United States.
Speak-
All those big, spacey middle states where there's a lot of like, militias and stuff. Like, it's really alarming.
Indeed. Oh man. I drove through Arizona and New Mexico, same places too, and called Texas as well. Just throw it all in there. Oh man.
I lived in Texas for a long time, and Austin was pretty cool, but Austin was often ridiculed by the rest of the state. Like, oh, they're a bunch of communists, they're a bunch of liberal communists and stuff. But other parts of Texas I really enjoyed also. I traveled a lot around Texas. But I do remember one time, my husband and I at the time, we were driving up to Chicago to see his parents, and we had a car that maybe wasn't super reliable, so it would break down every few towns, and we'd have to go find a garage, and they'd have to fix it. But this one town in Oklahoma, all right, so this place has kind of like ironic deer antlers, and it's not literally a hunting lodge, okay? It's just like, okay, that's a funny decor. There's the panda's butt or whatever. Well, one of the places we stopped in to eat breakfast or whatever, like their decor was actual propane tanks and actual deer antlers and stuff, and you didn't want to mess with these people. Me, I'm such a dork, like right after, excuse me, can you tell me the Wi-Fi password? And they're like, eh. So I'm like, all right, I shouldn't have asked the Wi-Fi password. They don't have Wi-Fi. So I was trying to be cool, like, all right, well, this is obviously like a hunting crowd, so I want to try to be cool and find some common ground. So I'm like, hey, what do you guys hunt around here? What kind of like meat or whatever? And they're listing all different types of animals I've never heard, and they look at me like, are you a hunting person? And they're like, you dumbass, you're not a hunting person. You're just looking at me. I'm like, yeah, I'm hunting for my self-esteem now.
Oh man. I wonder if they help supply jerky to Buc-ee's.
Maybe.
Because there's so much jerky on those walls.
There's so much jerky on those walls. I've heard about the legendary wall of Buc-ee's.
Have you been?
I haven't, but I had a friend bring me some ghost pepper jerky, and it was so spicy that even I couldn't eat it. I really like spicy stuff, but this ghost pepper jerky, you'd have to take a little tiny piece of it and, like, for example, put it into a pot of stew as flavoring, and the whole pot of stew would still be blazing hot. This ghost pepper jerky.
Speaking of ghosts,
Ghosts, yes.
Gosh, I can't even handle that stuff. The only hot stuff that I can handle is myself.
So is Cambodian food not hot, or does it have some spices?
It depends if you want spices. It gives you an option. I mean, you can put some Thai chili and stuff in there and some sriracha, but I usually like the mild dishes are my favorite. Chicken soups and the fried rices and we have our own fuzz and stuff, so.
Nice.
Oh, whatever tickles your fancy.
Cool.
Yeah. They call them angel wings sometimes at Vietnamese restaurants and Thai restaurants, right? They're stuffed chicken wings with like curry and stuff.
Ah.
Yeah, my mom makes those, and she makes me those it's like yellow crepes, and it's really good stuff. There's like chicken and bean sprouts and lettuce and fish sauce.
Sounds good.
She's one heck of a chef. She's like Raekwon the chef.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, you should go to Buc-ee's sometime. I know it's quite a drive for you, but it's totally worth it.
I've been past there, but that was back when it was first open and the parking lot was always jammed. I'll have to go in now that it's calmed down a little. Yeah, like one of my neighbors who works the night shift, like works a graveyard shift job, like he'll go to Buc-ee's for breakfast sometimes on the way back home, and so he's brought me the cinnamon buns before, which are good, and then he brought me that ghost pepper jerky that one time. But I have had their brisket sandwich. It's not like it wasn't bad. It was pretty good, but it wasn't like, I mean, I lived in Texas where there's some really good brisket out there. So the way they made the Buc-ee's sandwich sound like it was like the best brisket in the entire universe, and I mean, it wasn't bad, but
Indeed. I need to go try. Well, I don't like barbecue because like I'm allergic to tomatoes, so they use tomato sauce in them, and I'm like I just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
So like, there's some things you gotta live without. So and potatoes, nightshade vegetables, and me we don't get along.
Really?
Yeah, it just messes me all up. Chili peppers, tomatoes,
Aw.
eggplants, tomatoes. I can handle sweet potatoes, so that's good.
Sweet potatoes are awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So,
Oh, speaking of potatoes, this is a fun fact to know and tell. All right, so you know that that we grow potatoes in Bunnell. Like there's a lot of potato farms in Bunnell, and not necessarily just sweet potatoes. I guess white potatoes also. But and Bunnell is supposedly the potato chip potato capital of like the world or something, or at least the United States. Like the potatoes for potato chips are grown there. However, they get sent to potato chip factories like out of state, like up north or whatever. What's wrong with this picture? Why don't we have any potato chip factories?
all right.
This isn't a ghost story, but it's a Halloween decor story. I met this lady in Arizona who lives out in the middle of the desert, and for Halloween, she would always just go out in the desert and round up a bunch of tarantulas and put them in her yard. And then I guess after Halloween, they'd crawl home. I'd be like, well, how did they know Halloween was over? I guess they would like obediently stay in her yard until Halloween was over, and then they'd go crawl back out into the desert.
Indeed. Oh man. You were talking about potato chips and spiders, you said?
Potato chips and spiders, yeah.
I'm a pretty nice guy when it comes to spiders nowadays. I just capture them and release them.
Me too. Spiders are awesome.
Yep.
I have the little bitty spiders that live inside my house, and they don't really make a mess. They stay in their own little corners, and they eat small bugs. So those guys, I leave them alone.
What kind of spiders are they?
They're just like tiny little things. Some kind of a tiny little house spider, and they eat like fruit flies or whatever they eat. And I'm like, all right, you guys aren't bothering anybody. You can stay.
Indeed. Accidentally killed one and like the babies were on its back and so it was all over the place.
Aw.
Oh, I felt so bad. And ever since then I'm like, I'm just gonna carry you out
Aw,
and just ugh.
that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a trip, like how they carry all their babies on their back and stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's like you got to make room for all their 8 eyes and now that they got their babies on them. I'm like, ooh.
I know. No, spiders are super cool. In Texas, we had, and they have them elsewhere too, but I just don't see them in Florida that much, called jumping spiders that are really big and chunky. And they're really cool. Like, they have beautiful patterns on their back. Like, this one that used to hang out in my trailer in Texas had like a southwestern pattern on its back. And it was like really athletic, and it would just jump around, like it would jump up and grab flies and stuff. They were super athletic.
Would you name that athletic
Fluffy.
spider? If it was my spider, I'd name it Anderson Silva. Yeah. Because that's his nickname in MMA.
Oh, right on, right
Yeah.
on. Yeah. And then some of them have these like really iridescent blue eyes. So you'll see this big chunky black spider, and it'll have glowy blue eyes. And then one time, I swear, we called it the Halloween spider because it was a big chunky black jumping spider that had orange markings on his body.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's a Halloween spider. It's so cute.
Indeed. Oh, I don't get too close with spiders because you never know if they're going to jump at you or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of them don't really want to be around humans anyway.
Well, that's good.
Now, when I was in college, we had a pet tarantula named, what do we call him? He had striped legs, so we called him Spot. And he lived in an aquarium, and my roommate would buy him, I guess she had to buy him like little lizards or something to feed him. And, you know, we left him alone. He was quiet, he didn't make noise, he just chilled out in his little aquarium. But one time I was having a little bit of a hookup with I guess he was a biology student, and he knew all about ecology and biology and stuff, and says, no, we
play with the spider. He's really friendly. I'm like, all right, friendly, all right. So he got out the spider and convinced me to let the spider crawl on me, which I'd never done before. And it was okay, but they shoot out these little hairs, and you can be allergic, and I was allergic.
Oh, goodness.
But it was all right. He didn't mean to. He was a nice little spider.
Indeed. Oh, spiders.
Spiders are awesome.
There was like I sometimes watch these YouTube videos of like bullfrogs eating stuff, and sometimes those bullfrogs eat each other.
Oh, do they?
Yep, and I'm like, goodness gracious, it's like cannibalism with frogs.
Frogs do. Tadpoles eat each other too. Like tadpoles in a little pond will eat each other.
And they ate lizards. And, I don't know, but they just fed them. It was like Battletoads in there.
Yeah.
I just thought of the video game. I'm an old video game nerd.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I stopped at PlayStation 2 though, because it was just like, you gotta pay to download this stuff and pay to download that stuff. I was like, forget about it. I don't deal with that stuff anymore.
I liked some video games in college. Like I loved Pac-Man.
Ah.
And then there was a game called Galaxians, and then there's a game called Galaga. I think I was most addicted to Galaga.
Indeed.
And we had one student who, he actually, while he was in college, his mom and dad, his family lived in Japan, so he would like actually go to Japan for a Christmas break. And he'd come back with a bunch of 10 yen coins, which were worth about 6 cents. And a vending machine at that time, if you put a 10 yen coin into a vending machine, it thought it was a quarter, but it was only worth about 6 cents.
Wow.
He got in trouble. He got suspended from school after a while.
Goodness gracious.
Yes, he played a lot of video games with Japanese 10 yen coins.
That's pretty brilliant though. It saves you 19 cents.
Yeah, he saved him a lot of money.
Oh man. My favorite video game, arcade game, was Cubert. Got the high score in Pueblo, Denver, and Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah, and here in Florida. Yeah, that's just... And they used to have a Daytona Arcade Museum here.
Yeah. I know, I was sad when it closed. It seemed like it was a good place.
It really was. You could see all those old equipments and stuff.
I think people didn't like the cover charge, maybe.
It was pretty pricey. Yeah.
It wasn't a place that you could just take the kids and just have a few rounds of a game.
It'll survive in big places like Orlando, because there's a lot of retro game places there, like arcade and stuff, but when it comes to Daytona, they'd rather spend that money on drugs. I tell you what. Not me, though, or us, or anything, but...
No, the drugs that have been out in recent years are not for me. I had my experimenting days in much younger times when the drugs were not as scary back then.